We first came to a realization of a need for an early warning system during the 2012-13 school year. During one of our mini data retreats, we did a Venn diagram at the suggestion of a math teacher, looking at students from 3 different risk factors. And we were really embarrassed when we realized that there was a core group of kids that we had never talked about during our team approach to problem solving time. And we said our current system is simply too reliant on adults to identify kids. We need a system that identifies kids so that if one person is forgetting about a kid, the system will still identify the kid. And then the second part of it was we needed a system so we could identify groups of kids with the same issues, with the same cause, so that instead of focusing so much time on individual A, individual B, individual C, we could focus on group A, group B, group C, and really multiply the effects of our work. That led to a lot of different research on the EWS systems that were out there. And when we were looking at them, we really liked what we could glean from them in terms of the different risk factors, the criterion that were used to build the systems. One thing that we really wanted to change though is we really wanted to customize it to some local risk factors we also were aware of at Onalaska High School. And then the other thing was we were really focused on academic achievement and closing the achievement gap. And a lot of the EWS systems that we found were focused more on graduation gaps. And we wanted to be a little more comprehensive in that regard. So as we started looking at different things, we were able to really see what we wanted. And then it just came down to let's build something from the ground up and see what we can incorporate. We started off using Microsoft Excel simply because I was most comfortable with Microsoft Excel. But the key advantages to Microsoft Excel, it allows for a very quick upload of mass quantities of data. I can quickly pull from our student management system, lists of students, and then any of the factors that we have currently in there, such as attendance, such as grades, those types of factors. But I can also, within a few minutes, upload all of my map assessment information for all of my freshmen. It's about a minute to upload it to the student management system. I can pull in the WKC if I want that. I can pull in socioeconomic status. I can pull in the fact that they're a new student, the fact that they were dismissed from a program, the fact that they're currently in a program, the fact that they're currently in an intervention. It's very quick using Excel to do that. And there are some different features that I found that make that fast. My first concern using Excel as I thought about 220 freshmen, 220 MAP scores, is that's going to take someone a lot of time to manually enter the information. And I thought the person's probably going to be me, so I needed to find a solution. The other problem is that's a lot of room for error when someone is typing to have a finger mistake and suddenly end up off a student or simply have wrong scores added for a student. There's features in Excel, one of which is called a VLOOKUP. After Googling it and seeing an example, it's a quick way. We always import everything by student ID number so that if for some reason Hansen is spelled with an E instead of an O for a kid in a different spot, it doesn't matter. We always have the program searched by ID number, which is what all the EWS systems we looked at had as a core component. But it's very quick. I can import the map data, do a VLOOKUP, and in a matter of a minute have all 220 scores imported. And if for some reason a student doesn't have a score, it simply skips over that student. So that's some of the advantages of Excel, in addition to the fact that you can create drop-down menus within cells so that it's always spelled exactly the same, which is important for something I'll explain in a few minutes. You can do conditional formatting. So for example, we have it automatically set to flag students in a pink color. Pink is our warning label, but any student that's below grade level on anything is automatically coded pink in that specific area. So the Excel spreadsheet is what I call our messy version of the data. It gives us anything that anyone wants to add to it, anyone being on our leadership team, and we can quickly look at everything we have on that student if we're talking about a specific student in a crisis situation. The problem with Excel from a progress monitoring standpoint is we really wanted to look at kids, for example, in our eMath class. eMath is a companion course for students that are struggling in algebra, geometry, or algebra 2. We really wanted a way where we could look at all of our kids that were in eMath for algebra, look at what their MAP score was when they started in fall, look at winter what their MAP score was, look in spring at what their MAP score was, correlate it to WKC success, correlate it to their Explore or Plan percentile in math. We really wanted a quick way to do that. And as I was struggling in some evenings trying to figure that out, my data services director said to me, Jared, I think you're trying to make Excel do something that Excel doesn't easily do. I think you want a database for this part of it. what we quickly found out is that you can link your Microsoft Excel workbook to a Microsoft Access database. I had no experience with Access, but again, talking to one of my business teachers and then also using Google again, Microsoft has so many different supports for both programs that what Microsoft Access does is it allows us to answer those questions about I wonder if, or I'm pretty sure this is the case, which we found out was not in many cases, or simply to progress monitor a group. For example, mini data retreat. Someone says on our data retreat team, you know, I'm betting that every kid in the freshman class that's on our concern list for reading is probably also on our concern list for math. I'm sure they're all the same kids. And as the conversation continues, I can quickly use Access, just pull out freshmen below grade level in math and below grade level in reading, and then to say, actually, that's not the case. Let's look at the kids that are. Really, that there isn't the correlation we thought there would be. And it leads to some of those aha moments, and so that, most importantly, we're not dealing with incorrect assumptions moving ahead. The other thing that it does is, and I can't emphasize this enough, is it takes all of the mess of our Excel database with the mass quantities of information and it drills it down to specifically the kids we want. So not all 225 in the class, but just the 40 that we're talking about, and then just the specific data points that we want. You can set criteria levels so that it's everything from the 40th percentile below in MAP. You can set it for every kid who's missed more than 5 class periods in the first 20 days. Whatever you want to set it for, you drill down to a very specific targeted population. And I can't say enough about how Excel allows for the fast upload of information and mass quantities and quick adjustments. And then Microsoft Access, it answers those questions immediately for our PLC teams, for our problem-solving teams, for our data retreat teams. Because one concern I really wanted to address with our early warning system was, if I walked into a PLC meeting in math, in social studies, wherever it may be, and they asked the question, Jared, can you tell us about students that meet these points? I wanted to be able to very quickly say, yes, give me 30 seconds, give me a minute, as opposed to saying, I'll get back to you next week after trying to mine the data from several points. The early warning system has changed how we operate, and it changed how we looked at solving student issues.